Hello and welcome to the OMFL Jaguar Minute, the recap show I do for the OMFL Jacksonville Jaguars in order to get the 100 points needed for silver incentive rewards. I'm Mike Fleury, aka Mick Fleury. Please don't sue me, McDonald's. Now, I'll be honest, this might not continue beyond one episode, but we're going to give it a shot and see where it leads. For now, we're not worried about production value or much of anything but getting comfortable on the mic, because Fleury needs those 100 points. Today's episode, we're going to catch up on some due diligence that I've missed by starting the show 5 weeks into the season and break down the roster. We'll discuss contracts, depth charts, needs and strengths of the Jaguars roster, and all that and possibly more. Now, with all that said, let's get right into the roster. Starting at quarterback, we're going to go into the team salaries page here on Madden. We're going to go right to the quarterback, and we have Trevor Lawrence, a.k.a. the blonde Daniel Jones, making $295 million. Oh, man. For the next 7 seasons. Luckily, we will only play 5 of those, so I only have to pay him $24, $35, and $47 million in the last 3 years. Considering how bad the Jaguars have been in real life, next season we are looking at possibly having Trevor Lawrence be a 75 overall star development quarterback, and a huge possibility for a day one cut. But that's not this season. This season he is a 78 overall superstar development quarterback. In my system, he is mostly fine. That's basically all I can say. He is mostly fine. But he is not the biggest part of my roster. The biggest part is Travis Etienne Jr., the 25-year-old, 91 overall running back with 2 years left on his deal. Also a superstar running back. He is the cornerstone of my franchise, one of the league's top rushing leaders. He has 58 attempts at 427 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. He is a beast. And without him, I would be absolutely nowhere. His backup, the former Jaguar, Leonard Fournette, who I brought in because Tank Bigsby keeps fumbling my football. And I don't want to end up like a bad scene. Well, actually, it's a great scene, but a bad ripoff of Remember the Titans. Colin Fredrickson is my top receiver. He is the first import we have from the previous owner. A fantastic receiver, but with only 1 year left, making $1.4 million to be a superstar wide receiver. He is leading the team with 19 catches, 390 yards, and 5 touchdowns. His contract, I believe, is going to be $25 million or more. That is going to be painful. What will help, however, is that Christian Kirk seems to be the most likely player for my soon-to-be-achieved Hall of Fame incentive rewards for the bonus roster cut. I will probably look to remove him. He has been fantastic this year. He's very skilled receiver in space, 225 yards, 18 catches, big part of my offense. The problem is I have Gabe Davis, who's 3 inches taller, almost as fast, maybe not as maneuverable, but if I want maneuverability, there's Brian Thompson Jr., who I believe, hidden development, 4 plays left, I believe that's star development, if my offline franchise has anything to say about it. He has not been involved in the offense, but he really should be. I'm going to have to find a way to get better to get him involved. The same with Gabe Davis. I didn't really consider cutting Christian Kirk until this week when I looked at all the contract details. 3 catches for 113 yards is not enough. So we're going to probably look to move on from Christian Kirk at the end of the season. Free up basically what we'll need in terms of dollar value to bring back Colin Fredrickson, who is basically our offense. Speaking of players I need to use better, Evan Ingram, 88 overall, superstar, tight end. The problem is I don't want to do math in the middle of games. I don't want to track I already have to track how many running back carries I get so I don't overuse ETN. I don't want to have to track who I'm passing the ball to. So I tend to try to throw the ball to receivers all the time. And what we end up with is a stud tight end with 8 catches for 117 yards, 3 touchdowns. I am sorry for anybody who took him in fantasy. I know there were at least 1 or 2 of you. That is my bad. But there's not much I can do with that. So we're going to have to move on. Left tackle Cam Robinson. Last year of his contract, making $21 million. He will likely not be back. He's a very good player, but $21 million is a lot of money. We will probably look to fix. What am I trying to say? We're probably going to look to replace him, that's the word, in free agency or the draft. Ezra Cleveland, 26-year-old, 75-year-old, no. 26-year-old, 75, this has been great. 75 overall, star development. He is the definition of fine. Not special, just fine. Mitch Morse, 81 overall center. He's going to regress in the season changeover for next year, but he only has 1 year left. It's a cheap deal. He should be about a 78 overall, I assume, depending on how regression the sliders are for this league. I know they don't change the sliders a lot. They probably should for regression and stuff, but that's a conversation for the offseason probably. Brandon Scherf, another player at the end of his contract, $11.6 million this year, 1 year left. Unfortunately, we will probably also lose him. I just don't think the dollars will add up. It will be another case where maybe I'll try to bring him back in free agency if I have a couple dollars left after Fredrickson and some players on the defense that we're going to talk about in a second. So we'll have to see what happens here. And finally, Anton Harrison, my 76 overall, 22 years old, right tackle. He's been very good for us. He's only going to get better. I believe he is also star development. Yes, he is. So here's hoping that he develops into something a little better, maybe 80 overall by the end of the cycle. Offensive linemen, they do not grade well. They do not grow very quickly. It's unfortunate. I think the XP slider should probably be bumped for offensive linemen if we want to see decent ones. But again, that's an off-season suggestion that I will have to put out there. Now we get to the defense. Trayvon Walker. It's the third year, I guess that 2 years experience. So third year left end / linebacker out of Georgia. He has been an absolute monster for me this year. 5 games, 8 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 20 tackles. He's been bouncing back and forth between end and linebacker as I try to figure out this defense, which is ranked as one of the worst defenses in the league, which hurts my soul. I've never had a defense perform badly, and this is apparently going to change this year. On the right end, 92 overall superstar X Factor, Josh Hines Allen, formerly was, I want to say, the Panthers? No. I've been wrong before. Who am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Burns. Never mind. He has always been here. He is having a not great season. 8 tackles for loss is fine. 2.5 sacks in 5 games with a superstar X Factor, making $143 million over the next 5 seasons. Next season's $39 million. Oh boy. God, maybe I better cut him. No, we're not going to talk about that on stream. We're not going to do my cuts live on stream for everybody to hear. Defensive tackle. This is another one where we're going to have to decide after the season. He is the second import from previous season, I assume the Jaguars. Brian Larson, defensive lineman, 87 overall, 1 year remaining at $3.8 million. What a great contract. He wants about $11 million in re-sign. The problem, of course, is that I also have Eric Armstead for 3 more seasons at a fairly serviceable kick until his final season where he makes 19. And then, of course, Devon Hamilton. His is a little less, but it's not all that bad. He's 76 overall, star development, defensive tackle. And then, of course, two young guys, Jordan Jefferson, Mason Smith, basically long-term projects who will probably slide up to take over for these two closer to the end of the cycle. I mean, my defense can't play much worse than it already has. So we may or may not re-sign Larson. He's low on the priority list. I won't break it down right now, but he's low on the priority list. Left outside linebacker. I never pronounce his name correctly, even though he's a former Falcon. Foyesade Aluakon. I can't do it. It's my mouth does not form that word. $59.5 million. He's making 15 this year, but it goes down next year and then back up to 16 and 15.6. He is an 88 overall superstar linebacker. He's been very good for us this season, but you would like to see more interceptions as a coverage linebacker. 24 tackles is nothing to write home about. He's making a lot of money to be an impact player. He just hasn't been. Usually I would user him, and I don't really have a good reason why I haven't been. I think it's mostly because our right outside linebacker right now is a 68 overall, and I don't trust the CPU to use him alone. He is, if you look at the numbers, man, my users have been really off this year. I didn't mean to go into that. I meant to go here. Here we are. He has a 90 speed, 95 acceleration. His downside is literally everything else, including being undisciplined. He's mostly a pass rusher, but I've been using him as a fast user linebacker for this season. Linebacker is definitely a weak spot of this team. Devin Lloyd, run stopper, 82 overall, 2 years left on his rookie deal, I believe. He will be a player we will look to re-sign in the future, but right now he is star development, 36 tackles, 5 for loss, and a sack. He's been more than good. But again, the defense is one of the worst in the league, so we're grading on a curve here. Right now, we have Tyson Campbell, 83 overall corner. He's been mostly fine this year. He's got that long-term extension, $72 million over 5 years. Doesn't really hit us until the end, much like Trevor Lawrence's deal. So by that point, he'll probably be in the mid to high 80s, maybe low 90s. We'll live with it. Number 2 cornerback as of right now is Andre Cisco. He's the free safety, but he has the talent needed to come down to play corner, at least for now. We've just made a trade for another corner that might push him back to free safety or maybe slot. We'll see. Right now, he is an 80 overall corner. He has been having a really good season for us, mostly at safety, 27 tackles, 3 for loss, 1 interception, a forced fumble. He's been great. We needed cornerback depth, so we brought him in. Jerry Jones, who's a starter in real life, probably not going to see much of a boost with how they've been playing. He is a fast, 93 speed, 93 acceleration, 93 jumping, balanced all over the place. Problem is he can't cover in zone and can barely cover in man. He is a long-term project for the cornerback position. Hopefully we can build him up into something good. Right now, Terrell Edmonds is our free safety, 77 overall, 1 year left. Probably a position we'll deal with the draft, if not free agency. Excuse me. And finally, Darnell Savage, who has been easily our best player defensively. 39 tackles, a tackle for loss. Again, you would like to see more interceptions, but he has been fantastic in the run game. 78 overall, 3 years left at a very serviceable cap hit. Last year's gets a little expensive, but by then, hopefully an 80 overall, and he'll be in his final year. We could probably cut him if he regresses. He'll be about 30. We'll find out. That is the roster that we are dealing with. Again, there will be... went into box score, meant to go into stats. That is my fault. Just yet another hiccup we're going to have to work on for next time. Right now, we're going to jump into the season statistics. Right, 14th in passing with 1,027 yards, 4th in touchdowns. Let's skip that right there. 4th in touchdowns, 12 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Now, to be fair, 4 of those interceptions came in one game against the Bills, and 3 more of them came in a sim win over the Houston Texans, in a game where, if I do remember, he had 3 touchdowns and no picks when we disconnected. So he got kind of shafted. Still, this is not what you want to see out of your, $100 and some odd million. I'm not getting over that. $100 and some odd million quarterback who's going to be making upwards of $40 and $50 million by the end of the cycle. Fun. Travis Etienne has been beastly. Like to point out Leonard Fournette in his first 2 games. Has he played a different game? Sorry, I am having a brain cramp. I don't remember him playing more than 1 game with us. I could have swore I just signed him, and I was wrong. He was part of the sim win. That is why I don't remember him. I signed him after the disconnect, before the simulation, so he got playing time. That makes sense? Did I say after the disconnect, before the simulation? I don't know if I said that the right way. Let's just assume I did. As you can see here, Colin Fredrickson, we got all the numbers there. We've broken down a lot of these numbers. Let's go into league-wide stats, see where we rank so far. There's a bunch of games still to be played, so these will, of course, change. We're getting near the end of the show here. I've probably been talking for 10 minutes. This will be more succinct in the future, I promise. Again, assuming I continue. Right now, we are looking at kind of a middling grade for Lawrence in terms of yards. He also doesn't throw the ball very much, so that helps. What is he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 23rd in passing attempts, along with a bunch of other players I don't think who have played their most recent game, their week 5 matchup, I should say. Still, looking at some of these players around them, a lot of really not great seasons going on at quarterback. So I don't feel quite as bad about Trevor Lawrence and not having a very good one, because not many people, look at this. Joe Do 13-7, Purdy 13-7, and that's D-money right there. That you would expect way better than that. Joe Burrow 13-8. You know what? 12-10 doesn't look so bad. Apparently, we have not figured out passing this Madden. I'm glad I'm not the only one. What we have all figured out is the run game. Look at this. I am not pronouncing that name. This is not supposed to be a league recap. That is a Nate and Maniac thing, but I want to check out where we are in the league with everything. Look at these yards per carry. Okay, that doesn't help us at all. Look at these yards: 7.1, 8.4, 8.3, 7.4, 6.8. If you're in the 5s, you're just not playing very well, apparently. I don't know what's going on. Jesus. I forgot Josh Jacobs was a Packer. Anyways, 6.1, 7 down here. 11 touchdowns leads. Travis Etienne is not as high as you would think from a team that I run, but not bad at all. Not bad at all. Receiving, I actually expected Fredrickson to be a little higher. He's top 15, I guess. But again, I'm not much of a passer, so I guess that makes sense. Look at these numbers here. Couple rookies on there, as you would expect. People trying to force feed their rookies, get them. I saw a game, I was doing a little watching around the league, where somebody literally ran out of bounds. I'm not going to name names. Somebody literally ran out of bounds on the 2-yard line after an interception so they could get their rookie a cheap drag touchdown to inflate his numbers. I'm not going to say who. I just thought it was hilarious. The lengths people will go to get a couple extra XP points for their rookie wide receivers. It's crazy. I should probably be doing that with Thomas. It's probably the smart way to play. I just don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. It feels wrong. It feels a little skeevy. Just score the touchdown. Defensively, do we have anybody in the top 10? Ooh, we do. Look at this. See? Fantastic season for Darnell Savage. Though we have nobody in it. Look at this. Ooh. I think our most interceptions is like 1 or 2. I didn't look at our defense. I probably should have, so I'm not scrolling. There we are. 2 from Campbell. See, fantastic season for my number 1 corner. That's about it. Kicking has been such an interesting thing this year that to the point where I don't even want to kick the ball anymore. And I think a lot of people are in the same. I've done 2 field goal attempts. My long was a 58? That doesn't seem right. You know what? That was probably from the sim. I don't attempt field goals. I will punt. I will punt the ball, or if I'm close enough, I will go for it on 4th down. I think a lot of people are in the same boat that I am. Speaking of, here we go. Offensive rankings. I am much better offensively than I thought I was, but again, most of these teams have played 5, but the teams right below me, that's 5, but that's 4, couple players 4. So these will eventually even out. But right now, Jaguars offense, top 10 in the league. 9th. Yeah, 9th. Well, go me. How the hell did I manage that? Apparently my passing attack is inexplicably really good. And my rushing attack isn't? I am very confused by all of this. My rushing attack's what, mid-league? What the hell? See, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot, is what happened. That's what happened right now. My offense, this is total. This must include returns and stuff. My total is top 10. My passing is not bottom 10, middling. My rushing is 6th. There we go. This makes a lot more sense. There were anybody who's watching this, I know it's a private video right now. I'm going to post it eventually. They're looking at the screen. They're going to think I'm a moron. And I am. You're right. I am also, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th in scoring. Don't know how that happened. Passing touchdowns, 12. Don't know how that happened. Rushing touchdowns, 7. Apparently I can score the ball. What I can't do, stop literally anything. Pass defense, 6th worst. Rush defense, 7th worst. Oh boy. Now, this is another case where some teams will fall back. The Chiefs haven't played. I mean, they're not going to fall back that much, to be fair, but I mean, unless somebody goes, there are a couple teams ahead of me. The Texans haven't played. I think they're on bye. The Chargers, the Panthers, the Bills. So there are a bunch of teams that will eventually fall back, but still, it's not been good defensively for us this year. We are one of the most scored upon teams. Thank God for my offense, something I have never said. Just cannot get, I was going to say we can't get pressure, but we're top 12 in sacks, I guess. 5, 10, 12. Create fumbles. We do not create turnovers is a big issue. That has been our big issue all season. We can't get the ball back, which has led to, that. Unfortunately, that's something we're going to have to fix as the season goes on. But that is enough for me. I have been rambling for what feels like 15 minutes at this point. And so we're going to just wrap this up momentarily. Is there anything else I need to look at? I don't think so. We will get into the season discussion Next time, recap the first 4 games. Actually, I believe next time will be the trade announcement. I have a trade, as I think I've mentioned. I have a trade involving an NFC team. We're going to get some help defensively. That will be announced probably later today. I believe it has 4 of the 5 votes needed. So we will get that done. And then the next time I do one of these videos will be that. So that just wraps things up here. Next episode, trade review, 4 weeks. Yep, there we go. And then we'll be finally up to date. So for the OMFL Jaguars, I am Mike Fleury. And we will add outros to the list of things I need to work on for next time. Have a great day.